Please log in to your mobile phone, television, computer for live streaming or your nearest radio. It's now time to listen to Connecting the Dots. People come, let we go. Turn up the radio. Turn it up. This is the people show. No matter where we go. Connecting people. We all love you. We are here for you. We can hear you. Connecting people. People come, let we go. Turn up the radio. Turn it up. This is the people show. No matter where we go. Connect the dots, family. Connect the dots, unity. Connect the dots, for you and me. Connect the dots.
Good morning. I just want to say good morning to the U.S. Virgin Islands. And I'm talking about St. Thomas, St. Croix, St. John, Water Island. And, before I even start this morning with any discussion or even updates, I just wanted to, congratulate Aaliyah Boston. I followed this young lady from the very beginning. And I must say that everyone should be inspired by her, Virgin Islanders. Because 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, a year ago, when she competed on that same level and fell short. And, she said something last night that was quite inspirational. She said that she was motivated by them sharing memes of her crying in defeat. And to think that she would come back and come back so strong, speak volumes about her character, and she have exhibited her talent on a national stage, showcase the NCAA basketball championships between the women, and to see how she performed. And of course, there was another young lady on the court that performed well. We congratulate her. But overall, we have to congratulate. It's a team sport, and we want to congratulate them. But Aaliyah Boston took just about almost every national award that you can think of. I mean, Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, AP Player of the Year, and it goes on, and I could only imagine what else they would come with. And I got the impression that the sports writers was waiting to see if she would fall short, to then turn around and say, after all, she won all these awards but couldn't win the big one. Well, guess what? They end up with egg in their faces. And I was celebrating all last night. I celebrating still. I was celebrating until this morning just to watch a Virgin Islander in the national spotlight to win a championship. And I can't begin to tell you how many times I was just so excited to hear those sports writers and sportscasters, broadcasters mentioning her name so often. And guess what? And I talk about this quite often. She is an ambassador for the U.S. Virgin Islands. And just to hear them mention, she's from the U.S. Virgin Islands so often, and in some cases it's St. Thomas, but that she's from the U.S. Virgin Islands, and this Virgin Islands product in the spotlight, and giving national attention, getting national attention by way of just her performance, what she had accomplished, and of course, ultimately accomplishing the biggest prize that you can get in basketball on the women's level, which is the NCAA Women's Basketball Champions. So you can congratulate them, the champions, the South Carolina Gamecocks. I can't say enough, and I know a lot of people are probably elated and jumping up in their living rooms and even in establishments, bars, clubs, you name it. I know a lot of people was paying attention because a Virgin Islander was in that national spotlight. And congratulations to her family, her mother, her father, Russell Bruley, Carl Crump from the Virgin Islands, who actually helped to hone her talent. But Russell Bruley in particular, the endless hours that he put in, and not to mention that he saw promise in Aaliyah, and encouraged the parents to take her abroad where she could compete at a higher level and eventually elevate to where she elevated to. And guess what? She have accomplished almost everything in the sport. I think the only thing left for her to accomplish now is a gold medal and then eventually going to the professional ranks. But congratulations to Aaliyah Boston. Congratulations to the South Carolina Gamecocks for accomplishing what every team, every college, every university in America that have an athletic program, that one of their teams from their institution, their organization, accomplish the biggest goal, and that is to win that national championship. So congratulations to them. And moving down on the program, just on a little sad note, you know, I just want to extend condolences to the many, many families that have lost loved ones. And, you know, over the weekend, I believe we lost residents throughout the Virgin Islands, I would say, mourning the death of a VI culture bearer in the name of Eugene Doc Peterson. You know, wanted to extend condolences to him. And he was in fact a culture bearer, as I indicated. And, you know, just to listen to him play the guitar, and he was so talented with it, and his many, many contributions in the community, it just, he will be sorely missed by a lot of people. And moving along, just to the condolences, I wanted to extend condolences to Jan Buca. And of course, many of us know Roberto Mojica Tapia, who passed as well as L'Oreal Hernando Hodge. Just wanted to extend condolences to all those families. And I know it's not ever a pleasant thing to lose a loved one, especially someone that you interact with, maybe on a daily basis or often. But we all have to be confronted with that experience in our lifetimes. So condolences to all those families out there. And moving along, Sunday on the Sand. And what is Sunday on the Sand? Sunday on the Sand is sponsored by Catch of the Day down on Cookie Point Beach, where we expect to showcase local talent. And of course, it's going to be just a wonderful event where they're going to invite artists from the outside, and we're going to live stream Sunday on the Sand throughout the United States abroad. And you know, when people, and this is what captures potential visitors, when they look and they see nice pictures of the U.S. Virgin Islands and see the people interacting and enjoying the ambience, that's what actually compels them to want to come to our destination. So as much as we could showcase the U.S. Virgin Islands, it's always in our best interest to do so. So Sunday on the Sand, what it seeks to do is to showcase our culture, our tradition, overall our people, and you know, have even some of our local talent there performing on any given Sunday. And it's called Sunday on the Sand. So prepare yourself for it. It should be coming. They should be launching in a few weeks. I can't tell you exactly the week, but we was just waiting to see where COVID, actually if it subsides and if the restrictions are lifted and people are able to go out and enjoy themselves in the different environments. And being that this is outdoor, of course it's outdoor, where you will see sand, sun, sea, and a lot of people enjoying themselves. And moving along, what are your carnival expectations? I have a lot of carnival expectation. I mean, we can't anticipate that we're going to have carnival races, but carnival expectation is exactly, I'm sure that many of you are looking forward to the fair. You're looking forward to maybe a calypso tent here and there. You're looking forward to boat races. You're looking forward to a lot of activities. And the discussion we'll have this morning is on Carnival itself and trying to get some feedback from the public in trying to gauge the sentiment of Virgin Islanders relative to what's taking place, but more so, what does Carnival mean to you? And just moving along real quick in the updates, I also wanted to speak of the forecasts that we have for the U.S. Virgin Islands and these hurricanes. I know a lot of residents in the community still with homes that are compromised. are waiting to hear the forecast. Well, we have some good news. I was listening to some of the national news, and they often reference El Nino. And many of us don't know if we have a Spanish interpretation. El Nino mean the boy, or El Nino, the child. However, El Nino, being and based on science, as I understand it, is supposed to be the water temperature within the South Africa region that for some reason it offsets the formation of hurricanes. So I think that is good news for us, and they claim that it's going to subdue the hurricane season, that we don't expect to have any violent hurricanes this year. But you never know. These storms and these disasters, these storms in particular, are just unpredictable. But we pray that we don't experience any hurricanes, not just this year, but in years to come, because we're still recovering here in the U.S. Virgin Islands. In the next 2 weeks, on I think it's April 18th, I'm expecting to entertain for about 15 minutes, a half an hour, the Board of Elections as they come with a new campaign to actually encourage people to come out and vote, because there's still a lot of people, a lot of residents, a lot of folks that can in fact register to vote that don't want to register to vote, and you have a lot of folks that have lost interest in even voting. So they're coming on the program to try to appeal to the public and express to you and explain to you why it's so important to vote. You know, we earned that fundamental right, that democratic right to be able to vote, and it wasn't easy. And, you know, I wanted to just step back a little bit and recognize my sponsors as well. This program would not be possible without the kind sponsorship of Catch of the Day, which is located on Cookie Point Beach, and of course, Hometown Gas Station now have jumped aboard. And have you guys been to Hometown Gas Station to see just the display of fresh foods? But you have to taste it as well. And the sandwiches are to die for. I had a tuna fish sandwich up there the other day, and I'm not, you can't satisfy me that easy with a tuna fish. You gotta prepare it a certain way. And they just prepare it a way that has a lot of taste, and that fresh bread that they bake there every morning is to die for. And that's Hometown Gas Station. And so I just wanted to thank the sponsors here. Folks, this morning, as I mentioned, what we'll be discussing this morning is the Virgin Islands Carnival. But before I go to the Virgin Islands Carnival, and I wanted to reflect on 2 weeks ago, I had a discussion here about an initiative or proposal that went before the Senate. And that proposal was a proposal that was supposed to be, the initial communication referenced VIGL as the operating partner for Southland Gaming on developing the Phipps racetrack, Clinton Phipps racetrack here on St. Thomas. But now I look at the legislation, and I have it right here before me, and I've been reading it to note that it's an agreement between the government of the Virgin Islands and Southland Gaming of the Virgin Islands. So it appears that, I guess, they have strategically pushed VIGL out of the way, because the only mention in the legislation, there's no mention of VIGL, which gives the appearance that VIGL may or may not be considered to be the operators of the racetrack. So you have an entity with vested interest that spent so much money that was pushed to the wayside, and is only going to be a slight consideration at this time. And I just actually learned that the rumor mill has it that someone is going to offer on the floor of the legislature a legislation to restrict monopolies in the Virgin Islands. But even if you restrict monopolies or provide legislation to restrict monopolies in the Virgin Islands, and I would be curious to see the language contained in And it's two reasons. One, restricting monopolies in the Virgin Islands at this time does not neutralize the governor's discretion or remove the governor's discretion in entertaining whoever he wants to entertain in business. And now that I say that, the governor said that even with legislation that was passed in 2022, amending internet gaming and internet gambling license and franchisees agreement, that they're subject to regulation, but Southland Gaming is not subject to the regulation under the Casino Commission. Something is glaringly obvious and wrong there. And going back to this restriction on monopolies, I don't see how much of a difference it would make at this time, because you have a power entity, and I call them a power entity, that in fact is getting their way at every turn. And if they're already saying that the Senate is going to pass the legislation as is, that's kind of scary. And I find it interesting that the current government and Southland Gaming and the Virgin Islands proposed legislation not to bear the responsibility of engaging VIGL as to the operator of the racetrack, who was, they said, proposed to manage the racetrack. But understand that once the legislation, or the way the legislation is passed, if it's passed in its entirety, Southland Gaming can in fact determine who they want to manage and operate the racetrack operations. But folks, I think it's always important for us to indulge and do some research of our own, because I understand the horse owners, they just want a racetrack. Well, some of them, not all of them, but they want a racetrack. And there's a lot of spectators that want a racetrack, but will it always be at any cost? So this is why it's so important for Virgin Islanders to indulge and look in, even get a copy of the legislation and read it for yourself. I would hope that the legislature does not fast track this, because it's scheduled for the 7th of April. And folks, you should tune in, because within the legislation I'm looking at, Southland Gaming is getting an extension of 15 years. They're getting exemption. They don't have to pay gross receipt taxes on the operation. And the list goes on and on. And not to mention, in terms of, they're not actually going to be a regulated entity. And questions that I would ask, and I'm hoping that one of the senators asks the same question: has there ever been a forensic audit of Southland Gaming operations with the relationship with the government, in terms of whether or not the government is receiving an accurate or their fair share of the revenues that are generated, and crossover as well on a forensic audit to determine if every one of the business establishments are receiving an accurate invoice as to what they have to remit to Southland Gaming. Because if I'm not mistaken, some years back, I remember a hotel in particular, Windward Passage, had a problem with the invoices that they had been receiving, and in one instance indicated that they may have been overbilled by as much as $1 million. So if that exists with an entity like the Windward Passage Hotel, what about the small establishments who are looking out for them? I mean, they are gracious, they are glad, they are happy that they are realizing revenues that otherwise would not be realized. But it could be possible that the invoicing might be a little higher than it should be. And is that by design or oversight? These are the questions that the senators have to look into. And last but not least on this subject, before I go back to the subject of the day, is I'm just wondering why, now that you have the opportunity to place them under the Casino Control Commission, that you don't place them under the Casino Control Commission. Do you realize that they are in fact the highest revenue producers that you have when it comes to gaming in the U.S. Virgin Islands? none of the hotels on St. Croix collectively, I don't believe that they're generating as much revenues as Southland Gaming. So why would you have the hotels that have casinos under the Casino Control Commission, but you don't have Southland Gaming, which is the claimed VLT machines, under the Casino Commission? And to close off on that subject, the senators, I think that they're doing their due diligence. If my assumption is correct and my observations lead me right, I believe that they're doing some due diligence and research to determine whether or not Southland Gaming or anyone has exclusivity on VLTs. So see, even if you try to address it in terms of the monopoly and in terms of exclusivity on any form of gambling, we have to go back to 2001, because you have another company where legislation was passed that USVI Hosts Inc. may have the exclusivity on VLTs, because after all, they have a franchise on internet gaming and internet gambling. And I remember this because I was part of the body, that August body, the 24th legislature, that sat down and deliberated on internet gaming, internet gambling. And it was concluded at that time that any form of gaming that rely on internet bandwidth to be able to function was considered a form of internet gaming, internet gambling. So the question is, does VLTs depend on internet access, internet bandwidth to be able to operate? So I think that's a dilemma. And if the company, which I do believe USVI Hosts has standings, meaning if the Casino Commission collected license fees from them as well as other fees for background investigation, then they have become vested. The Supreme Court of the United States have made a determination already and have set precedent on a person or entity being vested. So this should be all part of the due diligence that August body will have to weigh in on. Because if they pass the legislation now, you never know if the first entity USVI Hosts is going to file a claim in the court to get once and for all a determination on who have exclusivity. So even if you try to offset that with offering legislation, it cannot go retroactively and it cannot affect any entity that have been vested, because then the legislature would make themselves liable as well. And I heard the governor talk about the past legislation in 2022 that amended that internet gaming and gambling license and said that there was special interest. It was special interest legislation. Wow. So if it was special interest legislation, then you're suggesting that senators have interest in the amendment that was offered to amend internet gaming and internet gambling law. So why didn't you call a name? Because this is a small territory. So if you start saying that it's special interest legislation and you're suggesting that someone have a special interest, then folks are going to start to look to see what is the relationship with Southland Gaming and why they're so fixated on ensuring that this particular company has an extension of 15 years exemption and permitted to operate basically unregulated. Because if you're saying that they're under the VI Lottery Office, once again, I'm not sure that VI Lottery Office has the component, has the capacity, has the know-how to conduct any audits at this time. And technically, VLTs should have been under the host, which is USVI Hosts Inc., when it comes to any activities that were operating based on internet internet gaming, VLTs included, because I will emphasize that they are, and it is, a form of internet gaming, internet gambling. So as the legislature deliberate on the 7th, I'll be paying attention to what's going on. But I don't believe that a group of 15 noble men and women, that they're just going to rubber stamp this legislation without doing due diligence and ensuring that the people's interest is protected at every turn. And of course, with this legislation pending, to get a full picture of exactly what is being proposed, because to send communication down initially to the Senate President that incorporated and referenced VIGL, to then send legislation down that does not even reference VIGL is suspect to me. But I'll leave that up to them, because it is a deliberative body and they're going to do what they want to do in terms of a majority rule. So moving on, folks, this morning, as I indicated via social media, and also I didn't have a chance over the airwaves, because my traditional listeners are far greater than the social media viewers. But I try to appeal and I try to appease and accommodate all. And so what I had shared was that I was going to discuss the issue of Carnival. And there's some pertinent questions that I wanted to just pose out there for the public. And of course, the number to call here at WST is 340-774-1340. And what we're discussing this morning is who really owns Carnival? And it's a valid question. Can both the government and the VI Carnival Committee function, collaborate on running Carnival overall? What can we do to improve Carnival? What does Carnival mean? What does Carnival mean to you? And I'm talking about you, Virgin Islanders. Are we maximizing Carnival's potential? Which I feel is, in fact, a valid question. What will the court proceeding resolve? Because understand that the VI Carnival Committee took the Department of Tourism, the government, to court because they feel that they have been disenfranchised and their rights have been violated. And folks, if you go back 2 years, on this very same station, I interviewed two different entities. I interviewed the senator who offered the legislation and mavericked the legislation through the Senate to place VI Carnival under the Department of Tourism. And I interviewed the chairman of the Carnival Committee. And one of the things that I posed and I said during the program is that the trade name, a trademark, you cannot wrestle a trademark away from anyone who submitted a valid application to trademark, whether it's 1 name, 2 name, 3 name, 4 names, 5 names. You can't just wrestle it away from them. And we had to be extremely cautious. Now, let me express and share with you the difference between the time or the period that I offered similar legislation. When I was in the Senate, I proposed to transition Carnival, and I felt that the Department of Tourism, on behalf of the people of the Virgin Islands, the government, should in fact have or own Carnival to ensure that it remains existing in perpetuity. And at the time, no one had a trademark. And I said it on the floor of the legislature. So the timing for the legislation was perfect then. And as I expressed the importance of the trademark, I think it fell on deaf ears, because I remember certain senators coming on the floor, obviously to derail it, and made sure that it was derailed. And it stayed and it was held in committee indefinitely, meaning that There was no date that we would be able to take it out of committee, even if I tried to special order it onto the floor, which I believe I did. But anyway, we are here today. Legislation came later and it was passed, notwithstanding the trademark. Now, the Carnival Committee has a right to, in fact, ask the courts to reinforce their right or their trademark. Now, folks, understand that this is not local jurisdiction. This is now federal jurisdiction when you're dealing with trademark. So the Carnival Committee, do they have standings? Of course, because they own the trademarks. So now if the Department of Tourism ventured to use any of their proprietary information, meaning anything that bears their trademarks, their trademark logo, or even the verbiage. And I understand they have about 4 or 5 names, titles, trademarked. And the question that you guys, the public, would ask, can that be done? Yes, it can be done. If I go and I have a name of a company, I want to trademark the name of my company. And let's say the name of my company is Carnival Expression Solutions, or whatever I want to call it. And I go to the Federal Registry, I submit my application for trademark. Yes, I can get a trademark. If they approve the trademark, that is the Federal Registry. So now, am I protected under the trademark? That's the purpose of trademarking. Your original material, your exclusive material, your material is to be protected under trademark laws. So we're here now, it's an issue in the court, and that's why I asked the question, what will the court proceeding resolve? They may resolve some satisfaction for the VI Carnival Committee, because as I said, my vision back then was to transition the Carnival Committee and it would become very much a part of the promotions office under the Department of Tourism, where everything would become integrated and it would be done in an amicable way. When you go out and you're taking over possession, that's adverse possession of people, private, personal property. That's a different story. Like changing locks on their headquarters and just taking possession of all their material. That I can't condone that. And you know, leadership is what it is. Sometimes when you miscalculate as a leader, as an administrator in the government, if you lack good judgment and you execute in the most improper way that borders on whether it's legal or illegal, but more so illegal, then you run into problems. So that speaks to the leadership quality that is there. So we have a quandary. We have a issue at this point. What is the issue? The issue is the VI Carnival Committee have taken the Department of Tourism, the government, to court to, in fact, protect their rights because they feel that they have been trampled on in the process. Now, folks, I don't believe that the Carnival Committee, the VI Carnival Committee, doesn't want Carnival. I believe they want Carnival, and they want the right to be able to organize certain activity and coexist with the government, because remember now that if the government is able to disenfranchise a private company, any non-profit organization, just by taking over, that would be a horrible precedent. And I can't imagine organizations here in the Virgin Islands, and including promoters, that if you promote a show annually, the government could just decide to come in, take over your show, go on with your show, because they were a sponsor and providing you with sponsorship money. That doesn't give them a right, because if you're a private entity, you operate as a private entity and you're protected by certain laws. And in this instance, we're hoping every Virgin Island, including myself, I want to be able to enjoy our carnival, our culture, our traditions. I look forward to boat races. I don't want anything interrupted. I want to be able to go out there in my short pants, sneakers, and my guayabera, or whatever I choose to, with my fedora hat, and enjoy carnival. I'm looking forward to going to Carnival Village, to enjoy music, to enjoy some of the best artists that you have throughout the Caribbean. I'm looking forward to that. It's part of our culture. And when you talk about 70 years, and and this is why I felt it was so important not to disenfranchise an entity regardless of what you say about them. It required a degree of sacrifice to run carnivals year after year. Entertaining, the tedious work that go into it. And I would take this liberty to say thank you to a Caswell Calendar and Blakey. We hadn't gotten along, but guess what? These were their friends. But I took a position from a legislative standpoint just to redefine and restructure something that I thought had some flaws. But I never said we were not thankful to them for the tremendous sacrifices that they have made over the years, because they have made sacrifices over the years. And I know for a fact, it isn't, it's really exhausting to have to go into the wee hours of the night trying to make sure that the event coming up the next day and for following days you're still in the planning process, and you still have to make spur of the moment decisions just like that. So it's an ongoing thing. But to wrestle it away and just disenfranchise folks, I don't think was a good method. I don't think the approach was good. And that's, unfortunately, we're two entities that want to see the same thing, meaning Carnival, be successful of fighting against each other. But as I said, trademark laws are meant to be respected. And if you are going to infringe on a private entity and try to just outright disenfranchise them, be careful with it, because it might just come back to haunt you. So, does it come back to haunt the government, or it doesn't? And that's what we're going to see if the court could remedy this whole thing so we could move forward. I don't think that the court would want to stop Carnival. But remember now that it's not the local court. We're in the federal court. Trademark issue. Is the court going to rule what they're going to rule? We have to sit back and wait and see. But I just shared with you my perspective based on my research in researching trademark laws and seeing whether or not they would have standings, and then observing or reviewing all the material that have been circulated. You can't use entities, even their footage of Carnival, and say that it's yours and you just use it because you feel you could use it. No, it was not meant for the government to exhibit any bullying in any respect. And I think that this matter, we're hopeful that the court could resolve it and get it over and done with once and for all. Did the Department of Tourism infringe on the Virgin Islands Committee's trademark rights? And that's going to be the question before the court, folks. So I just want to hear your thoughts. The number to call here at WST is 340-774-1340. And it's just going to be an interesting thing as we sit back and wait to see what the courts are going to determine, because the courts going to have to weigh in on this and like I said, determine the details of whether or not the Virgin Islands Carnival Committee will have standings. And I'm looking forward to it, because I actually like to see court proceedings and how they justify their rulings on different issues. And certainly I'm sure that the majority of the Virgin Islands public is going to be tuning in to listen out and hear what would have transpired with the Carnival Committee, the Virgin Islands Carnival Committee that is, and the government of the Virgin Islands. And the Virgin Islands Carnival Committee claim of trademark infringement. So that's going to be a interesting exchange. So at this time, I just wanted to go to a quick commercial for one of the sponsors. Hometown Grocery and Gas Station, the #1 grocery store for food and groceries, great prices, and always fresh products. They sell fresh food, mutton, stewed chicken, oxtail, stewed beef, rice, and beans, with a new menu every week. Great staff and excellent service. Hometown Grocery and Gas Station, the #1 place for grocery and fresh food. Hometown, hometown, hometown. Is catch of the day. From the water to the pot to your mouth, everything is fresh at Catch of the Day, located on Cookie Point Beach. Enjoy some of your favorite seafood dishes, fresh catch, lobster, tank, and whelks when in season, as well as surf and turf. They cater to your wishes. While you sit and wait for your food, enjoy the friendly bar and bask in the ambience that is second to none. Enjoy the white sand, sun, and crystal blue water. We are sure the experience will be unique. Monday through Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Come and enjoy Catch of the Day on Cookie Point Beach. Yes, folks, we're back again. Thank you to the sponsors. Thank you to the sponsors once again, which is Catch of the Day, located on Cookie Point Beach. You know, talking about Cookie Point Beach, when last have you guys been down there? I mean, it's just such a beautiful ambience. I mean, just to see what the beach looks like, just the pristine water, the crystal blue water. I just encourage you guys, you know, to go down there when you can, because it's just that beach. I don't know. It's something about that beach when you visit different places in the world and stuff like that. You know, Cookie Point Beach, there's no comparison. I'll tell people that all that. It's Cookie Point Beach just is something to a dream for some people. And I'm talking about people abroad, people that have never actually visited the U.S. Virgin Islands to see what the beach consists of. But folks, at this time, what I'd like to do is start going to the telephone line to allow for folks to start. Good morning, you're on the air, connect the dots.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Dunnister. This is Shirley Sadler. I am so pleased that you took on this issue and you did it so articulately and you didn't take sides. I think the majority of people truly need to understand what is going on between the Carnival Committee and tourism. And I think you did an excellent job in explaining it to them and then telling us that it's in the court's hand, because that's where it is now. So I just call for thank you for doing that, because a lot of people need to understand what's happening.
Thank you. And I mean, it's fair is fair. You know, and as I was close to this issue, and I don't know if you recall, I interviewed.
Yes, you paid the bill. You did.
Yeah, years, I think it was about 2 years ago. And at that time, I had even cautioned the government in how they approach. And, you know, this hostile takeover is unfortunate, because I think it's just not right. You know, you seek to disenfranchise and displace people, and it's almost like the bully and just bully their way to how they feel it should be and how the transition should be. And I couldn't favor that. It may be the most unpopular position to take, because a lot of people felt that now is the time for us to see a change with Carnival. But you got to be careful how you speak of change. It should never be a radical change. There has to be a transition.
I agree with you 100%. And Carnival in the Virgin Islands is right up there with the best, with Trinidad, Brazil, all the other big places that do hold Carnival. And it's something that people look forward to. I have family that wanted to come this year, and I encourage them to come next year when we go back to full swing. But Carnival is a money-making thing for the Virgin Islands, and it's something that shares who we are to the public, to the world. It tells them, come and enjoy our culture. This is who we are. This is what we are proud of. From a child, I love coming up in Carnival as an Indian. I don't do it anymore, but I think it speaks to us as a people. It brings us together every year as one. That's the one time we know as a people, we don't care who you is. You could be mad with your neighbor for years. You're going to smile and say good morning when you're going up to the parade.
Yeah.
It's just a culture that we embed ourselves in, and it's so sad. I agree with you that they're fighting now for power, and that's all it is to me. But I think that the good thing that came of this is it's going to be in court, and then we all will live with what the court says.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you.
Thank you for the time.
Thank you for calling.
Have a blessed one.
You as well. Yeah, the thing that concerns me as well is that you have many Virgin Islanders who are coming to the Virgin Islands for Carnival, who are making plans, who are booking hotel rooms, who are paying for their trips, expensive trips, to come back home. Good morning, you on the air, connect the dots.
Good morning. I'm calling to say that I'm very sad about what's going on with this Carnival with Baker. Yeah. And I think that all the stuff that you just said is justifying what Baker is doing. I am hoping that everybody come together, because as far as I recall, the senators were the ones who voted and passed a law for to take over. And that was because of people's complaints consistently. Yeah. Now, all of a sudden we get this, and we're hearing this and we're hearing that. And as far as I could recall as well, Baker was a very small part of the VI Carnival. And I don't know that he was in charge of anything. And Baker's gone now, and then all of a sudden, who appointed Baker to be in charge of this? And again, as far as I recall, they were getting money from the government all the time. And every year, they couldn't come up with no money that they were making. And the people who were complaining, now people are siding with Baker for this. Baker should respect the fact that there are changes, and we must endure some changes at times. And again, you said something about tradition and this is our culture, but Lent is our culture too. And this is Lent. Mm-hmm. This is Lent season. This is a time that we reflect and we change our behaviors and et cetera, et cetera. Why aren't we hearing more about that? I go to church on a Wednesday, barely anybody in church. Yeah. Why aren't we having the tradition that we had before too? You know, Sundays we used to have not having any drinks, not having any loud music and stuff at certain time. But nobody's studying those things. Everybody's studying Carnival. I like the Carnival for the young people. Now I could still come up with a bowl stick, trying to do a little thing, you know, because I do like the Carnival and I do like the young people to experience what we experience. But we cannot be telling them that, you know, there's laws to be followed and then anybody could come and say and do whatever they want. Mm-hmm. So this takes to end, and I would like for people to stop encouraging Baker in this. Tell Baker he is wrong. He is wrong. I don't care whether they own this. I didn't even realize that they was breaking them an own carnival. I thought that was the people's carnival. You know, if I had known that this thing had an owner, I wasn't going to participate. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Fonzie, you should have been in the Senate, okay? Because there's laws that you had a part of that hasn't been continued because you weren't there, you know. And I think you needed to be there representing the people instead of being on the radio here with you know, listening to people and, you know, please try to get this together because you already started it. Let Baker stop this crap. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for calling. Well, if I may just clarify that for the caller, and I appreciate everyone and everyone's opinion. They're entitled to their opinion, but let me just step back a little bit. I am not encouraging anyone. What I said was that trademarking is a serious issue. And this is what I think some people are missing. Trademarking is not, no entity can come and just take a trademark, a name that is trademarked, away from any organization. And if you attempt to do that, the only remedy will be a court. So if the Virgin Islands Carnival Committee truly own a trademark, that is to be tested, and it will be tested. But I'm not going to try to assume what the court is going to do. I just hope that whatever decision the court makes on it, that they can live with it, and it's in the best interest of the people of the Virgin Islands, that we can in fact move on with with Carnival being uninterrupted. And last but not least, church should be every day. Church should be every day. Every morning, I try to say my prayer, even if don't go to church. And I refer to Matthew 6, verse 5, that speaks about praying, asking God, whether it's for forgiveness, asking God for protection, whatever you pray to God for. But that should be every day. Carnival, on the other hand, it's only about a week. And after that week, we have to wait another year to come wrong before you have another week of Carnival. So I just wanted to just share that tidbit. Again, folks, the number to call here at WST is 340-774-1340. I saw I just missed 2 calls. I apologize. If you could call back, I'd entertain the call. Good morning. You on the air. Connect the dots.
Yeah, good morning,
Can you turn your radio down? It's feeding back. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. First of all, we the people is the creator of culture. We make culture. We create culture. Carnival, festival, all those are activities or characteristics of our culture. So to me, the ownership of Carnival is the people. We the people. Now, anybody else, to me, whether it's private or government entity, all they do is managing certain things. We give them the responsibility to manage certain things, to provide activities or services, whatever, to promote our culture. To me, well, I feel the VI Carnival Committee and the Tourist Department, they should have been working in partnership, just like you have partnership with, with private businesses and so forth, right?
And that's all I suggested? That's what I suggested from the beginning. A public-private partnership in a transition.
Right,
in a transition.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I concur with you. And because there's a lot of stakeholders in just the Carnival Committee and all them things with the government. Indeed, don't forget all the people, all those who have participated, all those who are, in the whatever Carnival activity, those, without them you wouldn't have been successful, whether you have the government entity or the Carnival Committee. So they need to work in partnership for the best interest of the people. You're managing this particular type of activity for us. But we, the people, is the ownership of our culture. Cannot be owned by government or a private entity. That's my opinion or position of that. All they do is managing, providing services so that we can enjoy our culture, promote our culture, express our culture, whether it's music, food, dance, you name it. And even coming together, like you say, bringing together, a village of bring people together, friends and family together. People coming from abroad or elsewhere, we socialize. That's all part of our culture, socialization and coming together and things, feasting, music, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we share the culture with everyone. So we don't establish nothing, but you own it, whether the VI Carnival Committee or the government. Nah, none of them two entities own it. We, the people, own it. You're working for us, managing those activities, providing the services and the resources necessary for we to enjoy our culture. And share with the rest of the world. That's the way I look at it. It should be a partnership, public-private. I agree with you on that point. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thanks for calling. And the caller is so right, and they answer the first question that I asked: who really owns Carnival? And it's the people. Let me go to another caller. Good morning. You're on the air. Connect the dots. Good morning. You're on the air. Connect the dots.
Good morning, Fancy. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm blessed. How are you?
Good. Loving the show. This is something that needed to really come to the forefront and sit to the forefront until it's rectified. I too feel that Baker is wrong because the trademark is his, or the Carnival Committee, or let's say. So my thing is, so the trademark is his means what? Because they have been doing Carnival. Now that the government have decided to have their festivals, gives him the right to. The government is doing something like yes, can use from the sponsor. At the same time, they want to hold it. Doesn't the festival committee have the priority in to hold these functions? Because my thing is, it's for years this thing has been going on about VICC opening their books to the government in reference to the money the government was giving them. But it seemed like it was intertwined. They wanted to make it intertwined, that the government wanted to know who their sponsors were and how much money they were getting, which I know wasn't true. They did never want to be accountable to the government for the money that the government was asking them to be accountable for. So heritage now, we have a millennium that's coming, because it ain't something just us.
Yeah.
So we have a millennium that's coming now and push the issue. And now we have the ice festival. And everybody up in arms. You understand?
Yeah.
Baker is a sore loser. You understand? Because he did the same thing with the Democratic Committee. You lose the chairmanship. Somebody else has it. You go and you make another committee that's using the Democratic name. Isn't that a problem as well? So when you say A, you can't say B. Because to me, using Democratic Vision Club is drawing Democrats to you because of just the sheer name of it. You understand? So you can't want to be right in one instance and wrong in another. And it's the same thing with the VICC. You're using the Carnival Committee to bring all these things. My thing is when they came to you, if you were working in good faith, we wouldn't reach where we are now. Because then you would have worked for the government, but you didn't want to do that. You wanted to be in total control of everything. My mother always say, want all gets nothing at all. You understand? And I love Baker. You understand? He's a go-getter. He knows how to get things done. But there are boundaries. There are boundaries. And you have to be able to work with others and be accountable for certain things that's going on. You understand? And so he can't want to have, he have the trademark, but you can't want to hold Carnival in all its glory and all that was afforded to the committee when there was no VI festival. There's no VI festival. So VI festival takes precedence, you know, and that's just how it is. I don't see why we're going to court, making us look like a people that are always fighting among ourselves because we can't come to a level of balance, you know, to work with one another. It's ridiculous. It's shameful. You know what I mean? VICC want to do their thing, then do their thing. You have your sponsors, you have your people, your contributors or whatever. Find the places that you need to do or pay like everybody else to have your functions take place. But you cannot want the government to give you the same places to do these things. Yeah. Now, if they're using his pictures and all of that stuff, okay, we could get a bunch of different we don't call the people them for Carnival troops and stuff get together and they go take pictures and they go out, VI festivals go out there and promote that if that's the case, you know. But when we talk about taking you have to franchise, right? My thing is look at it this way too. They locked the VICC out when they had a building at 75 corner, you know, because that's the government one. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so my thing is this. The government wanted y'all to work with them. Y'all didn't work with them, so they take back the land. Look about the property. So look at regular people. If the government want to cut a road right now through my land, and they want me to give up my home, Do I have a choice? They ain't gonna take it by eminent domain if I don't agree with that.
It all depends.
I need you to answer it for me, Fancy. Isn't that how it works as well?
Well, it's a process that you have to go through. You have to determine that the eminent domain is justified. But I think coming back, the court had to determine if there are standings. I don't think, not even myself, I have not weighed in on the complete content of their complaint. The little that I read is through the newspaper. And I'm looking forward to probably pulling the actual complaint that went to the court, because when you're talking about trademark infringement, and I think we have to navigate a little bit away from Baker, just Baker. There is, in fact, as I understand it. Huh?
What is Baker creating the problem?
No, but what I was trying to express to you is, I don't think Baker is the extent of the committee, and that they have a committee, the Virgin Islands Carnival Committee. Now, who
is influenced by him?
Okay, well, he influencing.
Because I am really surprised of the signatures that I saw.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
It's neither here nor there. It's going to the court.
Exactly.
We'll see what happens. But I just wanted to, say my little piece, because I love Baker, and my thing is, this power thing, and it is a power struggle. But the bottom line is, if you were working in good faith when the government asked for certain things that pertain to them, and you had done it, then VICC would still be in play. But you didn't want to do, so the government got to do what they got to do to safeguard our money too.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
I have a question. I have a question for you.
Yes?
Are you going to love Baker, win or lose?
Of course.
Okay, great. That's what I want to hear. You see, because we have to agree to disagree, and don't become enemies over this type of stuff. Because if he feels that his organization feels that they have standings, that's their right. That's their right to go to court if they feel that there's been an infringement or they've been violated their constitutional rights. So anyway, I'm out of time. It's 11 o'clock.
Yes.
11:02.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for calling. Okay, appreciate it. Yeah, folks, this program, WSTA, Connect the Dots, we entertain. Let me take one more call, and this is the last call. Good morning, you on the air, Connect the Dots.
Yes, hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Fancy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes?
You're on the air?
Yeah, okay. I just got something really quick to say.
Sure.
Laws should not be created. Laws should not be created on personal agendas. Okay?
Yeah.
You ask a question, does it come back to haunt the government? My question is, does it come back to haunt the government, or does it come back to haunt the people?
Yeah.
Depending on the court outcome.
Yeah.
What if a future administration decides to reappropriate funding and do away with Carnival? Because they're not into Carnival. A future administration, we don't know who the dynamics of the Virgin Islands construct of populace is changing. So if we get a governor now that is not really in tune with Carnival in the future, what if that governor decides to reappropriate funding and do away with Carnival? Everything don't need to be on the government. The contract for appropriation of funds by the government could have been worded where oversight of those funds were regulated by the government in the future moving forward. Okay? And I want to ask you, do you feel that what's going on today aligns with what you envisioned? Because I really got your answer, but I want clarity.
Well,
do you feel that what's going on today aligns with what you envisioned?
No, actually, the circumstances were different then, and I think I clarified it a little earlier. I don't know if you were listening to the early part of this discussion, but let me go back those years in the Senate. When I proposed the legislation, it was intended to have a smooth transition, and I think when you look at the status of the application before the trademark it was pending. And what I had expressed to my colleagues at the time is that if the government is going to be the rightful administrators for Carnival, and the people are going to be the rightful owners of Carnival, you have to be able to transition and own the trade name as well as all the properties under the trade name. Now understand that fast track now today, those circumstances significantly changed, because now you have an entity that own the trademark, they trademark all the names. So the circumstances are slightly different. Whether or not you could still move forward with legislation, and I give, I commend the senator for moving the legislation. I understand what he intended, what was intended. But I was hopeful that, you asked me about my vision, that there would be a smooth transition where there would be a public-private sort of partnership, a full collaboration with organizing Carnival, but going through a transition where you could have even transitioned some of the key people from the VI Carnival Committee into the Carnival Promotions Office. So,
well, I just want to point out a few things, right, and then leave it at that. Number one, the Carnival Committee is a 501c3. In order for the government to get sponsorship from private people, they need a 501c3. The certain key members of the Carnival Committee were transitioned to the government Department of Tourism, but the 501c3 that they're using is not the VI Carnival Committee, so there was no smooth transition there, which leads me to believe, or leads me to deduce that this thing is personal, and the people are the ones that's going to end up suffering in the long run. You understand? Number two, Carnival is becoming monetized. You know, we're looking at people changing the constructs of Carnival, where you're going to have to pay now for every single thing, you know, practically. Eventually, it's going to be, I mean, they're trying to bring in all kind of other people culture, all kind of other people ways of doing things, even looking at stuff here in the States. I do not agree with that. So when you spoke about how Carnival was, and being that you enjoy Carnival, which all of us enjoy Carnival, be prepared for a change, a radical change in Carnival as we move forward under this Department of Tourism.
Well, and
I don't understand why.
Yeah, you're making some salient points, but you heard me indicate it's 11:07, and I'm 7 minutes over my actual permitted time. So sorry to interrupt you. I truly apologize.
Thank you.
But feel free to call
to take those things into consideration.
And feel free to call into the future, but call a little earlier, so at least you don't get interrupted and, you know, fully exhaust your thoughts.
And answer the phone timely.
No, because the number of calls coming in here. But thank you, okay?
All right.
You have a wonderful day. All right.
You too.
Yeah, folks all have their, you know, their thoughts, their concerns. But one thing we know, that this matter is in court, and we could only hope that the court resolves the issue. I want to depart in thanking my sponsors, which is Catch of the Day, located on Cookie Point Beach, and actually Hometown Gas Station, where you could find some of the fresh sandwiches and best food to eat. So visit Hometown. And folks, I'm to the end of the hour, so we've exhausted somewhat some of it, but I'm sure that many of you are going to be paying attention to the court proceeding and just see how this resolves. Let's just hope that it could be ultimately resolved and we can move forward and have a peaceful carnival, peaceful organization, and respect the decision of the courts. So this has been Adela Fonsi Donestore here with you once again on this Monday morning with Connect the Dots every Monday from 10 to 11 a.m. and live streaming onto 26 different social media platforms. So I wanted to thank each and every one of you for viewing and for listening. And see you next Monday, same time, same place. Have a wonderful week.
WSTA.
It's Catch of the Day. From the water to the pot to your mouth, everything is fresh. at Catch of the Day, located on Cookie Point Beach. Enjoy some of your favorite seafood dishes, fresh catch, lobster, tank, and whelks when in season, as well as surf and turf. They cater to your wishes. While you sit and wait for your food, enjoy the friendly bar and bask in the ambience that is second to none. Enjoy the white sand, sun, and crystal blue water. We are sure the experience will be unique. Monday through Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Come and enjoy Catch of the Day on Cookie Point Beach.